All right, everybody. Welcome to episode 121 of Sports Hype. Not that much to get through today, but we're going to get through it in a little bit of time. First and foremost, Gio will touch on a disappointing loss to the Cleveland Browns. The Steelers took this past Thursday. It was a snow game. Gio has a few thoughts on George Pickens' comments after the game, so we'll get all his thoughts on that game as well as my thoughts on this past Monday's game for the Cowboys against the Houston Texans. Another disappointing and embarrassing loss, home loss nonetheless. Cowboys still winless at home, and it's November, so I'll get into my thoughts about that. We'll also touch on the Jets cleaning house by firing GM Joe Douglas and naming Phil Savage as their interim GM. So we'll share our thoughts on if this was the right move by the Jets. We'll also go on another surprising roster move by the Giants benching Daniel Jones for Tommy DeVito. And then Daniel Jones asked for his release the next day, and the Giants granted it. So we'll go through, was this the right move by the New York Giants? And another crucial defensive injury for the Detroit Lions. Linebacker Alex Anzalone will miss 6 to 8 weeks with a broken forearm. So we'll provide our feedback on what this injury means for the Lions, as they have already lost Aiden Hutchinson, potentially for the season unless they make the Super Bowl. And a surprising move from Seahawks starting center Connor Williams. He decided to retire last week, I believe it was, due to personal reasons, he said. And then Oluwatimi is the new Seahawks center. We saw last week against the 49ers that a lot of botched snaps are already happening with the new center. So we'll share our thoughts on what this means for the Seahawks and how they can get those mistakes cleaned up. On a contract extension, the 49ers and cornerback Dia Madror Lenore have agreed on a 5-year, $92 million contract extension. So we'll provide our feedback on this move by the 49ers. And the Bears fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron and promoted passing game coordinator Thomas Brown to offensive coordinator. So was this the right move by the Bears? We will go over that. And then to get into some NBA, a lot of injuries this year. Zion Williamson, not surprising, he's hurt once again. It's very unfortunate, but I have some thoughts on why he keeps getting injured, as I'm sure Gio does as well. He is out indefinitely with a hamstring strain. Shams Charania reported yesterday that he is nowhere close to returning, and it's already been about 2 weeks, and the Pelicans have been struggling without him. So they said that he will be reevaluated in a few weeks. After the reevaluation, Shams Charania said he's still nowhere close to returning. And then another crucial injury for the Pelicans, Jose Alvarado was ruled out for 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. So we will go through what both of these injuries mean for an already depleted Pelicans team, as well as Zion's future, given his injury history, as there's a lot of rumors going around about the Pelicans potentially trading him because of all of the injuries that he keeps sustaining. And then going into the Mavericks, Luka Doncic yesterday was ruled out for at least a week with a wrist sprain. He's going to be reevaluated in a week. So we'll go over what this means for the Dallas Mavericks. And then John Morant is week to week right now with a hip injury. It was suffered about a week and a half ago against the Los Angeles Lakers, and he hasn't played since. So we will provide our feedback on what this means for the Grizzlies. And then to round out the podcast, we'll touch on the NBA All-Star Game having a new format. It's a pickup game format. It's going to be 4 separate teams. The semifinals will be the first team to 40 points wins. The finals would be the first team to 25 points wins. It looks like the NBA is going to implement this in this upcoming All-Star break. So we'll share our thoughts on what this new format means and how it will affect the All-Star game and the viewing. So first and foremost, we'll, as I said, hear Gio's thoughts on that disappointing loss this past Thursday for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah. First off, I want to say Jameis Winston played his heart out. Really played for that spot on a team, played for his contract. Myles Garrett showed why he was Defensive Player of the Year last year, even though his numbers were not as great as TJ Watt's. He played like it when it mattered most, like in that game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and the way that they played in the previous week against, the Ravens, they played a flawless game. They played against the Cleveland Browns. They had 2 forced fumbles in the first half. This was just, mind you, this is before the whole entire snow and the blizzard that happened in Cleveland. So they still had a chance of, okay, let's try to, win a game. Let's try to at least win the first half. No, they went down 10-3. That's unbelievable as a Pittsburgh Steeler fan. And then to hear at the end of the game, even though we couldn't get our offense rolling in the blizzard, that's fine. That's understandable, right? There was a blizzard. We had the snow in our face, everything. But Jameis Winston was making every pass. We couldn't make a pass for our lives. And then second of all, for George Pickens to blame it on the weather, to blame the loss on the weather, okay?
He didn't even blame the loss. He just said they're not that good of a team. The weather saved them. Huh?
Well, he blamed the loss on the weather, okay? Because here's the thing that shows me. One, Cleveland was more prepared. If they're a terrible team, they would have been less prepared. We would have won that game. Simple as that. Two, weather did, become a factor, but at the same time, if the weather was a factor, why did one team show out? Why did one quarterback show and look like he was a top 5 quarterback in the league doing passes on his back foot in the air, going through defenders like it was, like butter? Like, my goodness, Jameis Winston was looking phenomenal in that second half. Nick Chubb was running on us like we were nothing, going through defenders like they were like a brick wall. I mean, like, come on. Next thing I know, when I saw in this game, we have a lot of work on, okay? We need to be more consistent. Obviously, that first half, there was no excuse. There's one key takeaway that I did like in this game, though. My goodness, it's a scary thought when you have 2 quarterbacks that you can interchange at any given time. One, it's great to have a running quarterback. It's phenomenal. The man can pass, too. Here's the thing with me. We counted on Justin Fields to make deep passes in crucial moments when he wasn't in form, when he wasn't in stride, right? So to me, that right there, we need to fix. But at the same time, when we're able to have a running quarterback and a passing quarterback like Russell Wilson, and interchange them in crucial moments and keep the defenders on their toes, that's all I want to see. Because when we can, really get that down pat and make that seamless, transition with the two of them, the AFC is ours. There's no doubt about it. We have the best defense. That secondary, fine. Patrick Queen's Patrick Queen. Okay? That secondary is going to be great no matter what. They just need to be more consistent. We already know what that defensive line does. So as long as that, secondary can, become consistent, we get that quarterback situation down pat. Like I said, that AFC is ours. There's nobody that's competing against us.
Not even the Chiefs?
Chiefs. No way. Did we just see? No. You want to say the Chiefs. Did we just see Josh Allen run all over the Chiefs defense, pass on them? Did we just see that happen in Buffalo? Like, come on. If you're the defending champions, you're going up against, I hate to say it, but a worse Bills team than last year.
Yeah.
You lose. How did you do that?
I mean, the Bills, we went through it on the podcast prior to this one. The Bills usually beat the Chiefs in the regular season, and then the Chiefs usually get their revenge in the playoffs. But, yeah, I agree. They should have beat the Bills. Yeah.
That scouting report's been the same his entire career.
Right. I did want to ask you, because I saw a video of George Pickens, pretty much on the last play, instead of trying to catch a ball that looked like to be intended, like he could have caught it if he was paying attention. Instead, he was tackling Greg Newsome and fighting with Greg Newsome. What was your thoughts on that video?
One, I don't think he could have caught it. Two, I think they were doing a shoving match either way. And then it got out of bounds, and obviously we saw what happened after that. But I don't think there was any way for him to catch it. I think the defender played it perfectly. In order to have caught that ball, he had to be in front of the defender. If you're behind the defender like he was, either way, that defender's patting it down, right? He's spiking that ball down no matter what. He's not giving you any chance to catch that ball.
Yeah, that's true. I just think blaming, like you said, blaming the weather or blaming the loss on the weather, that's not right. You got to take accountability for your own actions. You're the one who went out there and performed. Obviously, you can't throw the ball to yourself, but it's still on you guys as a team. It's not on the weather. One team, like you said, one team was prepared, the other was not. That's what it came down to. One team executed, the other did not. It's really that simple. Mike Tomlin made a few crucial mistakes, like rushing out a field goal unit for a missed field goal a few times that came back to bite you guys as well. He's still a great coach, though, but it's just for me to say that Steelers are going to win the AFC. I think they have to beat teams that they should beat, and the teams that they've lost to, like the Cowboys, like the Browns now, and then they haven't played the Bengals yet. There was one other team that they should have beat that they lost to as well. They have to clean that up. They need to beat the teams that they should beat, and then I will put them in a. But they are still very, very. I think they are the second best team in the AFC, and I think they are the best threat to the Chiefs because they beat the teams that are contenders, like the Commanders, like the Ravens, and teams like that. They consistently beat. And with Russell Wilson back there, you always like a rejuvenated Russell Wilson, a confident Russell Wilson. You see how well he's playing and how happy he is in Pittsburgh. You don't want to see that Russell Wilson at all. And then, like you said, to put Justin Fields back there, confuse defenses, and have him run the ball, read option, whatever the case may be. I didn't like that play call on 4th and 2. I think they should have ran a play at read option instead of having him throw that ball to George Pickens. If you're going to have someone throw the ball to George Pickens there, it should be Russell Wilson because he is more accurate. I thought that they were going to run a read option. I was a little surprised by that play call, but that's what you're saying. Once they clean up those things, I think they are definitely the best threat to the Chiefs. I would agree with that.
For sure.
But definitely a disappointing loss. But, I mean, the Browns, they surprised a few people. Like Jameis Winston isn't a terrible quarterback. Is he inconsistent? Yes, but he came to play that night, and it was at the hands of the Steelers, unfortunately. But moving on to the Cowboys, that has been another disappointing year, another disappointing game. The Houston Texans pretty much just ran all over us. CJ Stroud didn't have to throw at all. The first play of the game, I know it was called back with a holding penalty, but that really set the tone. I knew that we were going to get blown out after that. I mean, Trayvon Diggs missing that tackle on Nico Collins that led to a touchdown that was called back. As I said, I was like, yeah, we didn't come to play today. I think, honestly, the players are checked out. I think the coaches are checked out. Yes, they keep saying the right things in front of the cameras because they have to, let's be honest. But deep down, they're like, the season's over. I mean, there's no way we can make the playoffs. What's the point of me going out there and giving it my all? So they just go out and pretty much half-ass it. If we're going to be honest, you see them trying to tackle, they don't wrap up. You see them try to stop the run, they can't get to the quarterback. I mean, nothing's working for this team, and I mean, there's really nothing else to say. I'm not surprised that we lose. I'm expecting another loss tomorrow. It's just very embarrassing to be the only team in the NFL that has not won a home game, and it's November 23rd. That's concerning. I mean, I think everyone's been saying that the Packers playoff game broke the Cowboys, and every home loss that goes by, I would agree more and more because we were dominant at home prior to that playoff game. We were winning. I think we were undefeated at home that year, winning by 20 plus at home, and then the Packers come in and win by 20 plus and take our souls, and we haven't won a home game since. I think it's all mental. Honestly, I really do think it is a mental thing for this team because at least they put up a fight on the road for at least the first half, but at home, like they just get blown out of the water. I think it really is mental.
This is what I got to say. For what the Dallas Cowboys organization is, for what we believed that they are, right? And we know what the front office is. We've been saying this the last couple of years.
Yeah.
What happens through the front office then goes to the team and the rest of the organization. It is an environment that the front office has built and a culture that they built that makes this team lose. It's simple as that. Look at some of these other bad teams, right? Let's just say, for instance, the Detroit Lions.
Or we could say the Cleveland Browns right now. I mean, at least they're still competing.
You could, okay, yes, but I'm thinking the Detroit Lions. You look at Detroit the first year with Jared Goff.
Mm-hmm.
Were they winning games?
No.
Were they winning games at the end of the season?
I mean, I think they won a few.
They did win a few. That is my whole point. They were changing the culture within a single season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care where you are. I don't care who you are. If you guys are in the NFL, you are there to win. It is as simple as that. You guys competed for a spot on the highest level.
Roster.
On a roster for the highest level of your sport, of your profession.
Yep.
Don't tell me you don't want to win. Don't tell me you're just going through the motions. And if you are, then you do not deserve a spot on one of these teams.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. For you guys to quit, for the Cowboys to quit on their fan base, apparently America's team's fan base, how do you quit on apparently the most respected, not respected, but the most, the largest fan base apparently of the NFL? How do you disrespect your fan base like that and you quit on them? You don't do that as a team, as an organization that shows you exactly who Jerry Jones is, that shows you exactly how McCarthy is as a coach, that shows you what kind of leader that Dak Prescott is, because I don't even care if he's playing or not. You're a leader of that team. You better show it. You better tell your players, your teammates, exactly how to play. You don't quit on your organization. You don't quit on your team. I hate how players quit nowadays to where they don't show the love and the passion of the sport. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much summed it up. It's all culture. Mike McCarthy, no discipline. He hasn't been disciplined. Yeah, sure. He won 12 games in 3 straight years. So what? No playoff success to show for it. I don't care.
He was in the NFC least for the majority part of his career as a coach of the Cowboys. I don't care what those 12 games say. Like you said, the postseason matters. Dak Prescott, where are you? How in the world, in the postseason, on a game-winning drive, do you have Ezekiel Elliott block? How do you have that boy block as a lineman and get pancaked in the final play of a playoff game? It makes zero sense to me. That's when he should have got fired. Not now. Jerry, where you at? You got to make something happen because this is ridiculous. This is not an NFL team that anybody wants to watch. I think all the other publicized, televised games that the Cowboys have should be canceled. Put on somebody else. Put on somebody that wants to fight every night because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. McCarthy is very undisciplined. I've been saying it his whole 5 years here. The Cowboys are the most penalized team in the league. That's discipline. He doesn't discipline his players. And that showed when Trayvon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb were out at a club the night after getting smoked by the Houston Texans. That showed me all I need to know about this team. And now Trayvon Diggs is hurt, a groin and knee injury. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're hurt, all right. I highly doubt you're hurt. I think you know that you're playing terrible football right now, and your team's playing terrible football. So you're like, no point. But like Gio's saying, you don't quit on your team. I agree. Dak Prescott should. I get it. You're not in uniform. I don't care. FaceTime the boys and say, hey, we are still a NFL team. We still have a chance to make the playoffs. I know it's very slim, but you can win out. You just have to go put in the work with the quarterback that you put in with me in the offseason. Like, where's the work that you guys put in with me with Cooper back there? Like, why you guys give up all of a sudden? Just because we have injuries? Half the teams in the NFL have injuries. They're still winning.
That's right.
This is all a culture issue, like you said, and it's not going to change as long as the Jones family runs the team because that's just who Jerry Jones is. I guarantee you right now, Jerry Jones will end maybe 5-12, 4-13, something like that with a top 5 pick. Jerry Jones at the end of the year will say, oh, Dak was hurt. Like, we didn't suck with Dak Prescott at a quarterback. We were terrible with him at quarterback too. Get out of here with that. And I guarantee you that's what he's going to say. And then he won't make any moves in the offseason because it's Jerry Jones. And he'll build through the draft saying, oh, I like our guys. We can still win with this team. I can call it from a mile away because that's just who Jerry Jones is. So until the Joneses give up on running the Cowboys into the ground, the Cowboys aren't going anywhere.
It's terrible. I mean, it's terrible for your guys' fan base. One, you look at you look at these guys, right? And you guys had success. You guys had some sort of success through the last 5 to 7 years. Okay. Look at the Chicago Bears. Look at what they're doing for their fan base right now. They're actually looking like there could be something in the next couple of years. Look at the Detroit Lions. They turned that around, right? I mean, you look at all these teams that had a huge drought, right? A huge struggle. Yet the Cowboys have stayed mediocre upon mediocre since the 90s. They haven't done anything.
I mean, ever since Jerry Jones fired Jimmy Johnson, that is when it all went downhill because he was too upset that Jimmy was getting the attention, not him. Now you want attention, and you're getting attention for all the wrong reasons because you don't know how to do your job. Jimmy Johnson covered up how bad you were at your job for those years.
Right.
And like I don't like Jerry Jones. I made that clear. His accountability is not there. The team's accountability, not there. Like you said, it's all culture. It's very disappointing. Like I've never seen a team this bad in my life. I've seen 8 and 8 years, with Jason Garrett, but right now I'd take 8 and 8. Like that's how bad it is. I don't understand like what it will take for Jerry Jones to make a rash move like fire McCarthy. It's not like we're going to go anywhere anyway. But he keeps saying, no, I trust the coaching staff. I trust our players. I'm not going out and giving Trey Lance a shot. What is Cooper Rush doing that shows you that Trey Lance isn't any better? It's not like Cooper Rush is doing anything spectacular. Give Trey Lance a shot. Like, I don't understand what this team is doing. Like, they are running themselves into the ground, and I think they aren't coming out and saying they're tanking, but I think they honestly are tanking.
Oh, for sure. You can't say you're tanking, or else you're going to get punished, right?
But I mean, like, bro, I just want, like, just show fight. I don't care if you lose. Show fight. Don't get embarrassed every single week. I'm sick of getting embarrassed. That's the one thing. Like, I'm fine with getting a high draft pick. I'm fine with losing. Like, I knew it would be a tough year after Jerry Jones sat on his butt in free agency. We all called it from a mile away. I thought we'd get maybe 10 wins. I didn't think it'd be this bad, but I knew it'd be tough to compete in the NFC. Like, you can't be in the NFC, probably the most competitive division in the NFL, and not do anything in free agency to improve your team. That'd be like the Lakers last year in the West, not doing anything at the trade deadline, barely making out of the play, and then getting swept. You pretty much set yourself up for failure, Jerry Jones, and you're not taking any accountability for it. That's the thing that bothers me the most.
Right.
But honestly, this year's over. I'm just excited to see what we do in the draft. I think there's a lot of needs for that top 5 pick that will probably end up with at least top 10. It'll be interesting to see, and hopefully Jerry Jones learned his lesson this offseason, and we'll restructure Dak's contract and CD's contract and go out and get some talent to improve this team.
Yeah, that would be the best thing, but we all know who he is, and he's not going to make the smartest decision. That's just a known fact.
I mean, if Jerry was smart, that's a big if, he would restructure Dak's terrible contract, and he'd restructure CD's as well to go get talent. But as we know, he's going to probably hand out Micah a Supermax contract and call it a day.
That's it.
But speaking of general managers, the Jets fired general manager Joe Douglas and named Phil Savage as their interim general manager. How do you feel about this move, Gio?
I don't think it really matters. I mean, the Jets are the Jets. It is proving that no matter who they get, no matter how much talent they have on their team, they are still the New Jersey Jets. Okay? And I say that with the highest respect that they play New Jersey. They are no New York team.
No. The Giants are terrible, and yet they're still better than the Jets, arguably.
Yeah. But here's the thing. It's so odd to me. You have Aaron Rodgers. You have his buddy Devontae Adams. You have...
Well, that's another thing I want to ask. There's another thing I want to ask you, but keep going.
And you're blaming your front office, even though they created this team? Even though they gave you all the talent? It's just the execution.
You know what? When I knew the season was over? When they fired Robert Saleh. It's not on the coach that Aaron Rodgers is washed. It's not on the coach that he can't get a ball to Garrett Wilson. He can't get a ball to Allen Lazard. It's not on the coach that you didn't go out and get Aaron Rodgers an offensive line that can block. Like, that's not on the coach.
Right. I purely think it's based upon – it's just execution at this point.
I mean, honestly, Aaron Rodgers, I hate to say it because he's a great quarterback, but he is not the same. As I said, going into the season, a 40-year-old coming off a torn Achilles, he's not going to be the same. He's not the same Aaron Rodgers. We saw it with Kobe Bryant after he tore his Achilles. He wasn't the same. Injuries kept popping up, shoulder injury, hamstring injury, whatever the case may be. Same thing's happening with Aaron Rodgers. Even when he's out there, he's making terrible throws, and then he puts the blame on his teammates. If you're a quarterback, you take accountability. That's what a quarterback does. If Dak Prescott goes out and throws for 500 yards but throws a game-losing interception, he's going to say the game's on him. He's done it multiple times. You blame your teammates. That's a terrible leader. There's no wonder that people don't want to play for you.
Right.
I think, yeah, like you said, this is not a move that's going to fix anything. I understand Woody Johnson wants to win and win now, but it's not going to happen. I mean, and the fact that I think Aaron Rodgers had a few things to do, had a say in this, as well as the Robert Saleh firing. And now Aaron Rodgers coming out saying, oh, I want to play next year, but not for the Jets, after you force them to go get your buddy Devontae Adams, and you're going to leave Devontae Adams high and dry with another quarterback. That shows me all I need to know about Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's just terrible.
Right.
I think Aaron Rodgers, great player, terrible leader, terrible teammate, and he's just a diva. And that's why he forced his way out of Green Bay after Jordan Love got there, and he's going to force his way out of the Jets solely because, I don't know, they can't win, but that's because of him. In my opinion, it's on him.
Sure.
I mean, your defense does everything you would want it to. Like, it gets stops, and then you can't go out and score. Whose fault is that?
Right.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think this move is going to change anything for the Jets. I think the Jets will always be the Jets, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do this offseason, because clearly Woody Johnson is not happy after letting go of Robert Saleh and now the GM. It's going to be interesting to see whether Aaron Rodgers forces his way out, and if he does, what that means for Devontae Adams, because clearly Adams went there to play with a Rodgers. If Rodgers leaves, I mean, obviously he'll be a free agent. Will he follow Rodgers? And then what will the Jets do from there? They'll just have to start over, which honestly really stinks for the Jets after trading pretty much everything you had for Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But this is why I wasn't sold on the Aaron Rodgers trade, because the way he treated Green Bay towards the end showed me all I needed to know. And he's always going to be that type of player. Like, if things aren't going his way, he's going to force his way out. And I don't understand why players do this. Like, you're the one who wanted to go there. You should be the one to want to turn it around. Like, that's just my opinion. I don't know if you have different thoughts on it.
No, I feel like if a star wants to go someplace that has had issues in the past, that hasn't had great success in the past, like LeBron James. LeBron James wanted to win Cleveland a championship. LeBron James played for Cleveland. LeBron James left Cleveland. LeBron James came back to Cleveland, gave them a championship.
And then he did the same thing for the Lakers after leaving Cleveland the second time.
Because the Lakers hasn't had success since Kobe Bryant was healthy. Like you mentioned, he wasn't healthy the back years of his career. So LeBron James goes to another franchise that was struggling and gets them a championship. Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to do that.
No.
Players who go to these types of situations love a challenge. Is Aaron Rodgers one of those players? No. Like you said, he's a diva. Like you said, he doesn't actually really care about the success of a franchise. I think he really just cares about the success of himself. That is really it. His statistics, what he wants to do, and where he can go to where he can control the situation. And he believes he could control it in New Jersey, in New York Jets, right? But as we can see, they're not winning, and he's getting the stuff that he wants, like you said.
Yeah. I mean, I know you're a big Rodgers supporter. You thought the Jets would be very good this year.
Yeah.
After seeing him this past year, are you convinced that he's a problem, one, and that he is washed, two?
I don't think he's washed. I just think, like you mentioned, who wants to play for a quarterback that puts blame on his teammates? It is as simple as that. No one wants to play with you. No one wants to play for you. And in that case, the season's going to be washed as it is. You shouldn't have even played it to start the season.
Yeah, that's fair. It's going to be interesting to see what team would go after him after, what he did with Green Bay and now the Jets. But they're our quarterback needy team, so we'll see what happens.
Right.
But speaking of quarterbacks that got done dirty, Giants benched Daniel Jones. Not only benched him, they pushed him down to QB4 under Tommy DeVito, Drew Lock, and Tim Boyle. After that, he decided that it was best to ask for a release. The Giants granted that release, and he now cleared waivers today. What's your thoughts on this whole situation, Gio?
I think this is amazing. I mean, he was a terrible quarterback to begin with. It wasn't him who brought the success to the New York Giants. It was totally Saquon Barkley. And it allowed Daniel Jones to make the easiest reads, to make the easiest passes in the world to his players, right? To Sterling Shepard, to whoever the case may be, to even a little dish off to, Saquon, to where he ran probably for 60 yards. My whole thing about it is I thought Tommy DeVito should have started to begin with. He was having success with his team last year. We all understood, we paid Daniel Jones this much money, so we got to play him as the quarterback one. That shouldn't be the case for all situations. You made a mistake, you paid a guy. Let's give the people what they want. Let's give the people a successful organization. Tommy DeVito was winning games. Let him keep winning. Now he's going to show you once again why he should be the New York Giants starting quarterback, is because he is, I'm guaranteeing you, he will win half of his games for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should have started DeVito. Obviously, like you said, the contract's the reason they didn't. Everyone knows that. Same reason why the Cowboys are going to stick with Dak Prescott, even though they should bring in competition for him. They won't because of the contract they gave him. Same reason the Jaguars would stick with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, it's all based on the contract. The one thing I will say is I think they should have benched Daniel Jones. I agree with that move. I don't agree with pushing him back to QB4 because that's a little disrespectful in my opinion. I mean, he's had 3 bad years in a row. There's no getting around that. But he's still, in 2022, he still led them to the playoffs. He still had a great year. So in that year, he was statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm not saying obviously he's not one of the best, but that year he did, and he was. I just think it's a little disrespectful given that, he still tried his best. I mean, he didn't have the best talent around him because of the front office. Like you said, the front office letting go Saquon. Obviously, it was for him, but I'm just saying they didn't get him the best talent around him for him to succeed. I think if he goes to a team now that he's on waivers, if he goes to a team that has more weapons for him, I think he'll succeed a little bit more.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
What happens if he has a career-ending injury?
Yeah, they do pay him, but I'm not saying that they had to, I'm just saying they shouldn't have publicly announced that. Like, you don't have to publicly announce it, in my opinion, because like you might not play him for the rest of the year. That's fine, but to say that he's quarterback 4 and then pretty much have him not practice, I don't think he could have got hurt in practice. I mean, there's non-contact practice, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah, that's fine. But at the same,
I do get what you're saying. Like, yeah, they had to pay his injury guarantee if he got hurt, which is why I know they said it's a football decision. But let's be honest, that's why he got benched. Let's just put that out there. They would have had to pay him $23 million if he got hurt. But
at the same time, I mean, yes, they didn't have to mention that he was QB4, but it would probably be the smartest decision to be at QB4. Tommy DeVito goes on. Okay, next is who? Who's the next guy?
Drew Lock.
Okay, next is Drew Lock. He is just terrible. Okay,
yeah.
And you go to Boyle. Okay, or let's just say let's just say Daniel was QB3 at that time, right? Because you don't want him QB2 just in case if Tommy goes down, you got to put him back in. So QB3 comes around. Okay, that's Daniel Jones. What if he gets this season-ending injury? No, we can't have that.
He wouldn't be QB3 though. He wasn't QB3 though. But are you saying if they did make him QB3?
But I'm saying if they made him QB3 and Drew Lock was terrible, you would obviously have to put someone else in. And who's that QB3? It's Daniel Jones. He could have a season-ending injury. Yes, put him at QB4. That's the smartest decision. Putting out in the public, that's a no-go. Him not practicing, I believe, is on him. I don't think that's the organization.
Yeah, I think the practice was definitely on him. I mean, he seemed unhappy. That's pretty much why he asked for a release. But I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably be unhappy too. Like, I get it. You talk to me separately. Go ahead, talk to me separately. Tell me I'm quarterback 4. Don't put that out in the public. That just tells me all I need to know about
Yes,
that organization.
you
What's up?
perform. You perform, and we don't even have to have this conversation, Jake.
I mean, yeah, that is true. But like I said, I'm not saying he's a good quarterback, but I think the front office didn't get him enough talent. Like, they didn't have an O line.
Brother, they gave him one of the best receivers in the league, and he's a rookie.
Yeah, yes. Okay, yeah, that's true. But I'm saying outside of Neighbors, who do they have? Jair Slayton leads league is one of the most I think I saw today the 9th receiver most percentage of drops. Wandale Robinson is very good, but he's not a deep threat. Outside of Malik Neighbors, they don't have anything.
I saw that offense moving against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That is the inconsistency of Daniel Jones. If you are able to do that against it, don't get me wrong, our secondary, like I said, needs to be very consistent.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can do that against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, why can't you do that all the time? Why can't you at least, like you said, fight during the games that you need to fight for? How do you go into like a single digit loss, right? Like when you're losing by a touchdown or less, and you can't come up with a game-winning play over and over again? That's on you.
Yeah, that's true. I think it was the right football decision by the Giants organization. I just think it was the wrong decision to put it out publicly, unless it was leaked. You never know. These days, things can be leaked. But if it wasn't leaked, then and the Giants are the ones who told Shefty about it, then that's kind of messed up in my opinion.
For sure.
But overall, I do think this was the right move by the Giants because obviously Daniel Jones isn't the answer. Might as well see what you got with your other quarterbacks and then go into the draft with a top 5 pick and draft a Cam Ward or Shador Sanders, whoever is the best on the board at that time. But I do agree. I think Tommy DeVito will lead them to at least 4 or 5 more wins because he is a very accurate quarterback. I mean, we saw it. He's inconsistent, as we saw at Syracuse, but we also saw how accurate he is. He's going to get the ball to Malik Neighbors. He's going to get the ball to Wandale Robinson in the right places, and they're going to be able to score touchdowns. So I won't be surprised if DeVito wins 4 or 5 more games, and hopefully that will earn him a contract on another team come off the offseason. But moving on to a severe injury, the Lions linebacker Alex Anzalone will miss 6 to 8 weeks with a broken forearm. What do you think about what this means for the Lions, Gio?
Yeah, it's another big blow to them. I mean, but at the same time, the way their culture is, the next man is up. Yeah. They will be fine. I have total belief in that team, no matter who is playing, based upon their coaching, based upon the front office, based upon their culture. They will be okay. It is the new Detroit Lions, which I love.
Yep, I agree. Obviously, huge blow. Alex Anzalone is one of the best linebackers in the league. But like you said, they got insanely good backups as well. I mean, Dan Campbell has them all ready to play at all times. Next man up mentality. He's a great coach. They'll be just fine. And I still believe that they are the favorites out of the NFC. Because the 49ers are looking very sketchy. A lot of teams in the NFC that we thought would be in the Super Bowl. The only one that I could see beating them potentially, and I think there will be the NFC Championship, is the Eagles. And that's going to be a great game. With the way the Eagles have been playing and the way the Lions have been playing all year, it's going to be a very good game if that is the NFC Championship game like most predict.
I agree. Hey, I disagree, though.
Who do you think?
Who do I think is going to be in the NFC Championship game?
If you don't think if you don't think the Eagles and Lions, who? Because what do you disagree about?
It's not going to be the Eagles.
Who is it going to be?
It's a sleeper.
The Commanders?
That's right.
You think the Commanders will, if they meet the Eagles in the second round, you think they got enough to beat them?
Yeah, I do.
Because we saw last Thursday, I believe, Jaden Daniels did not have the best game against the Eagles.
No, he didn't. And guess what? Who do they have as their head coach?
Dan Quinn.
I believe in Dan Quinn. I mean, it's the same thing.
Even after a 28-3 blown lead in the Super Bowl.
Excuse me?
Even after a 28-3 blown lead in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
What makes you believe in him so much? And I'm not saying that the Commanders can't beat the Eagles. They definitely can. But I'm just wondering what makes you believe in him so much based off his success prior years.
It's the fact that he's learned from his mistakes, and it's the fact that the adjustments that he knows how to make, okay? For him to change around the culture of this team so drastically, so quickly, proves to me he is the same type of coach Dan Campbell is. He's the same type of coach we see Andy Reid is, right? He's a difference maker. That is the type of coach you want as your franchise, right? For your franchise for a long time, long term. Dan Quinn is that leader. Jaden Daniels is a dog, no doubt about it. Scary Terry. Their defense is elite. Give me one reason why you believe in the Philadelphia Eagles in the postseason.
Well, they did it one year. They made the Super Bowl. Let's not forget that. They almost beat the Chiefs. And I think a rookie quarterback back there, very little experience in the playoffs compared to Jalen Hurts in his third year, I believe, with a lot of experience in the playoffs. I think that will put them over the hump just by a little bit. And their defense, the Philadelphia's defense I saw today, has allowed the 9th fewest passing yards the past 8 weeks and the 9th or the 2nd fewest passing touchdowns. And the first 6 weeks they were terrible at that. The past 3 or 4 weeks they have been absolutely fantastic at it, and they're peaking at the right time.
Blind question here, right? Like pretty much close your eyes. Let me tell you 2 names. Nick Sirianni or Dan Quinn?
I mean, that's actually tough. I honestly trust Sirianni more, to be honest with you, because he's had the experience.
He's had the experience.
And he's gotten his team over the hump. I know Dan Quinn did with the Falcons as well, but he blew his chance.
And Nick Sirianni has blown it in the playoffs multiple times.
The past few years.
That's right.
I think, like I said, it's not going to come down to coaching. It's going to come down to quarterback play. I think having a rookie back there is going to hurt the Commanders.
It could, but then again, he's different. These quarterbacks nowadays are different. C.J. Stroud is different. So is, Jaden Daniels. Joe Burrow, we saw what he did when he was fully healthy one year, pretty much on his rookie year. The thing that I don't like is that, yes, you can look at the Philadelphia Eagles' success right now. Nick Sirianni, let's not forget, the brother was on the hot seat the past 2 years because of his coaching.
That's true. They still have a lot of weeks to collapse.
Exactly. And if I look at that history compared to what I've seen, so look at the trend of Nick Sirianni, right? He goes to the Super Bowl every year after that, has been a decline in the way he's been coaching the game.
Yeah, outside of this year so far.
I'm looking at Dan Quinn and the way not only his head coaching, but I'm also looking at his defensive coordinator skills, what he did with the Dallas Cowboys. He had the number 1 defense. Yes, they didn't play well, but I think that was also execution on their part. And then you look at what he's done to the Commanders franchise. A franchise we didn't think we were going to be in the headlines for at least the next couple of years. And he's made it that quick. That proves to me, I think I trust Dan Quinn more than Nick Sirianni.
Yeah, I mean, I won't be surprised because even with Jaden Daniels playing that terrible against the Philadelphia Eagles, they were still in the game. They still almost won the game.
Right.
And now they have Marshawn Lattimore there as well that
Yep.
will also shore up their secondary and be able, because they weren't able to shut down A.J. Brown at all that game. Now they will be able to with Marshawn Lattimore there, not entirely, but more effectively. And I won't be surprised, honestly, if the Commanders do surprise a few people and give the Eagles a fight and potentially make it to the championship game. But overall, I think the Lions are the favorites to come out of the NFC, no matter what.
Oh, easy. Yeah, for sure.
But moving on to another NFC team, the Seahawks starting center Connor Williams decided to retire last week due to personal reasons. Oluwatomi is the new Seahawks center. As I said in the intros, they've had a few botched snaps the past few weeks, so it's not looking like it's being everything gelling. It's not looking like it's gelling right now. Obviously, they needed some more practice time. So, what do you think? How do you think this affects the Seahawks, Gio?
Yeah, the center position is to me, the most important position, right? Obviously, he's the guy that gives your quarterback the ball. He's the guy that reads out plays and sees the shifts in defense. So not only this is terrible for the Seahawks, but also shows you how important the center position really is to the game of football. The Seahawks, to me, aren't really that relevant. So as of right now, I'm sorry to say that to all Seahawks fans in the Seahawks organization, but
I mean, in their division, they are still in the running for first. If they somehow beat the Cardinals this weekend, they could be first. Because that division is the new worst division in the NFC. Let's just put that out there.
It really is. And you guys have no chance of doing anything in the playoffs. I will bet my money on you. None of those four teams will make it out of the second round.
You think even if the 49ers peak at the right time, they can't make it out of the second round?
No, not the way they've been showing me. Not the way they've been playing. They're what are they, 5-5 right now?
Yeah, and Purdy's out Purdy's out tomorrow too.
Yeah, don't give me any of that nonsense.
Yeah, I agree. The center position though, yeah, it's very important. I know a lot of people are like, why are they paying the center so much money? Well, this is why. I mean, if you can't get the quarterback the ball, the quarterback can't throw the ball to your receiver for a touchdown. I mean, it's really that simple. And it's not only do they hike the ball, they also protect the quarterback. They have to do double time. They hike the ball, and they have to get their hands up in time to block a nose tackle as good as TJ Watt, as good as Myles Garrett. Like, they are the most important piece on the offensive line. And we're seeing how important it was for not only the Seahawks, but for every team. So hopefully the Seahawks can get this figured out moving forward down the line. But yeah, regarding the NFC West, I do agree. None of those teams will do anything. The only team I could see maybe make it to the second round because of how good Kyler Murray is playing right now is the Arizona Cardinals. But even then, they're not going to get past the second round solely because of there's just more talented teams in the NFC.
Right.
But we'll see what happens regarding the Seahawks. I won't be surprised if they sneak a wild card in there, but they're going to have to find a way to beat the Cardinals tomorrow to make that happen. So let's see if they can get that done. Then sticking in the NFC West, the 49ers and quarterback Madre Lenore have agreed on a 5-year, $92 million contract extension. What's your thoughts on this move for the 49ers, Gio?
I mean, I like it. I believe this was the right decision just because of how great of a player he really is and what he's shown. It is going to get difficult with their cap space, though, in my opinion.
They still have to play Brock.
I'm sorry?
They still have to pay Brock eventually.
Eventually, right? I mean, Mr. Irrelevant is kind of relevant right now, isn't he? But, yeah, I think this was a good move. Honestly, it's just ridiculous how much these players are making, but good for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a great move. I mean, Lenore is arguably their best corner, one of their best defensive players. It's really the only reason the 49ers, I think, have been struggling this year is a lot of injuries, which has affected their chemistry on the field. They haven't been able to get any chemistry down, and once they do get a big play, it's always called back by penalty. It's just a lot of injuries have really affected them this year. And I think it's more of a mental thing than anything, but I do agree that this was the right move by the 49ers. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they can find a way to pay Brock Purdy the amount quarterbacks are making right now, with all the other contracts they have on hand as well.
Right.
Moving on to another NFC team. The Bears last week fired offensive coordinator Shane Waldron and promoted passing game coordinator Thomas Brown to offensive coordinator. They should have won against the Packers, let's be honest. Their offense looked a lot better. Do you think this was the right move?
No, I don't. But then again, I understand why they're doing it. But for the sake of Caleb's development, for the sake of the young offense, they have an amazing young offense.
Well, I think that's why they did it, though, because the first weeks 1 through 8 I saw, Caleb was playing great. And then the last 4 weeks prior to him being fired, they were 0-4, and Caleb's numbers went drastically down. So I think they got a little sick of the plays he was calling. I think they felt like he was being a little too conservative or too aggressive maybe with Caleb.
But at the same time, you got to put the kid in the fire.
Yeah, but I mean, teams these days, unless it's a quarterback like Jaden Daniels, don't really do that. I mean, look at Drake May. Like, he wasn't put in the fire until, week 5, and now he's doing great. I think teams look at it like we have to ease him into NFL play. I do agree with you. They shouldn't do that. They should see what they got, and if he doesn't pan out, then you know that, okay, he's not going to be a good quarterback, instead of waiting 2 or 3 years and be like, oh, we missed on this pick.
Exactly, because if you do that and you wait, then you have to restart anyways. Why not restart at a sooner date? Or why not see, wow, we actually have a great talent. Let's try to build a winning franchise earlier. You know, like, the waiting game is over, man. It is here and now. That is exactly what the Washington Commanders are doing right now. And that's why everybody loves them, is because they're here and now. They changed their culture instantaneously overnight.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly did think this was the right move, but after what you said, I disagree, because look at what Jaden Daniels is doing with Cliff Kingsbury, the offensive coordinator. He's slinging it around. But I know Caleb Williams he's not better than Jaden Daniels. We're not saying that. But he has a potential to be. I'm not saying potential to be better, but he has a potential to be equivalent to Jaden Daniels, I would say. And you just have to unleash him.
For sure. But can we just give the flowers to Kingsbury for a second? He didn't pan out as a great head coach, but offensive coordinator, that guy is magic. Okay.
He's insane. I mean, and now he's getting head coaching offers or rumors. I think he should stay as offensive coordinator. That's his best position.
100%. And if it fits best for you, stick with it, because what creates a championship type, contender? It is everybody doing their part. It's everybody fitting into their role. And Cliff Kingsbury has a gift to be an offensive coordinator, not a head coach.
Right. And that's why the Chiefs have won 2 Super Bowls in a row, looking to make it 3, because Andy Reid is a mastermind on offense, and then they got a mastermind on defense in Steve Spagnuolo, or whoever, their defensive coordinator is absolutely insane. And then obviously Andy Reid is one of the best play callers to ever do it.
For sure.
So definitely should stay as offensive coordinator. But regarding the Bears, I'm still a little skeptical of that. Obviously, their offense did look a little bit better, but it didn't look that much better. It looked pretty much the same to me. They still put up the same amount of numbers, and the Bears keep losing in a terrible fashion. Let's just put it that way. First a Hail Mary and then a blocked field goal. I feel bad for Bears fans.
For sure. The Bears.
But moving on to the NBA, I'm sure you have a lot to say on Zion Williamson. He is out indefinitely with a hamstring strain. We'll start with him and then get into Jose Alvarado. He was reevaluated yesterday. As I said, Shams Charania said he is nowhere close to returning. I believe it's because of his weight. What's your thoughts?
I agree. The man has a personal chef.
And I just saw, before you get going, sorry, I saw something that said you know how his agents, they parted ways. Apparently, they parted ways because he wanted them to force a trade in New York after getting drafted by the Pelicans number 1. You're a rookie. You don't get to choose where you play. Let's just put that out there. And the fact that he thought he could, and now he's playing unmotivated and pretty much just going through the motions, that's not right, in my opinion.
That's good information to be brought up, because one, this was my whole entire take. You have a personal chef, right? This doesn't happen. You have the best trainers in the world. This doesn't happen. This is on.
Look at LeBron. I saw a picture of LeBron James at 39, peak body, and then I saw a picture of Zion Williamson at 24. He looks like a 39-year-old, and LeBron looks like a 24-year-old. That's all training.
Yeah. I mean, if you, like I said, have a personal trainer, have the best training in the world, if you have a personal chef, this doesn't happen.
Well, I mean, LeBron doesn't even have a chef, though. You just have to be disciplined. Like with Tom Brady in the NFL, he played for so many years because he was disciplined in what he put in his body. Zion Williamson clearly puts whatever he wants in his body, and it is affecting his body.
You have a responsibility for your franchise, to your fan base, to play at the best level you can. Like I mentioned,
that's why I'm like, this New York thing came out, and I'm like, is he really giving it his all? Because I don't think he is. If that came out,
these guys need to.
It's like James Harden, with the Nets when he had his hamstring injury. It was really because he wanted to get out of there. Like these players keep pulling stints like this to get out. I mean, I know Anthony Davis ultimately went to the Lakers, but he did the same thing in New Orleans. I'm not saying he wasn't hurt, but he continuously got hurt to force his way out. Like they keep finding ways, loopholes to force their way out. And I think it's wrong. If you're on a team, you need to play if you can play.
Right.
You signed a contract that you would play a certain amount of games, whatever amount of games that is. And now you're breaking that contract because you don't want to be there. Like that, I think the NBA should fix something regarding this because it happens everywhere. It's not just in New Orleans.
Yeah, but the whole discussion is Zion Williamson.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, do you think, let's just get it back into it. Like, obviously, the personal chef, the personal trainer, you don't think he has any of those?
I don't think he does. How in the world, let's just say this. If he does have a personal chef, he's got to get fired because a personal chef is to make sure that your body...
And the trainer, too. If you have a personal trainer and your body's like that, you get out of here.
Because if you have good people, a good, core group around you, like a personal chef, like personal trainers, like, a great team, you wouldn't be in the physical condition you're in. You would, one, be healthy. Two, you would be in physical great shape. Three, if you get injured, yes, that's fine. Your body might not be able to, but at least you would be trying to be in good physical condition.
Bro, and he's not trying to get back. Like, I haven't seen him rehab. Yesterday, he got a back tattoo. Like, what?
So, like you said, he's checked out. He shouldn't have signed that max contract with him. If he really wanted to win, if he really wanted to get out of there, he would have left after his rookie contract.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly disappointing that what these players do to get out of situations they don't want to be in, but you put yourself in that situation. So if you didn't want to be there in the first place, then why would you, like you said, why would you sign that contract? If you knew in the back of your mind there might be a way that I force my way out, then why sign the contract in the first place and make an obligation to a team that you're not going to give your full effort to?
Right.
I think it's, like I said, the NBA has to do something about these loopholes because players keep finding these loopholes to force their way out. I mean, it's just, honestly, it's ruining the game. But I hope, like, Zion's a beast. Let's just put that out there. He's a great player when he's on the court. But the fact that he can't stay on the court, something has to change. I don't know if a new environment would do that for him or whatever the case may be, but he needs to figure out something to keep himself healthy.
Right.
What do you think is in his future regarding his injury history?
I say he's going to have a career like Derrick Rose, if not worse, because we didn't get to see his full potential like we saw with the Derrick Rose.
So you say within the next, even if he's traded within the next 1 or 2 years, he'll be out of the league. Well, not out of the league, but like as a, deep bench player.
I think he'll be a rotational player. I don't think he'll be a star.
Even if he gets traded.
Yep.
You don't think a change of environment like what I saw today would help him mentally or physically?
Nope. I think mentally, yes. Physically, no. He had sustained too many injuries because he did not want to change his physical ways. He didn't want to lose weight. He didn't want to create a great, healthy environment for himself. And because of that, he's going to reap the repercussions of his actions. And that's because he didn't want to, be healthy.
You don't even think, like, if he went to New York, just say that. You don't think a coach like Tom Thibodeau, who is very disciplined, could get the best out of him and make him, go on a diet or whatever the case may be?
Right. That's fine. You can go on a diet. You can be in your let's just say you can look your best. You can be your best physical condition. When you run up and down that court and you play an NBA basketball game, how many times has that hamstring bothered him before, Jake?
Every year.
Okay. Even if you're at the best peak physical condition, that hamstring is still going to bother you every once in a while, if not more, because you have popped it so many times. It gets weaker and weaker because of the scar tissue, because of the things around it. You look at his ankles, you look at his knees. Everything is deteriorating at a 24-year-old, where LeBron James rebuilt his body so nothing deteriorates. That's why he's playing this good. It's because as of right now, nothing is deteriorated, right?
Right. I mean, even Anthony,
as we speak.
Yeah, it's really disappointing because, as I said, he is a beast. When on the court, it's just disappointing that he's never on the court. But
sure, I
was gonna say, like, even Anthony Davis, like, yes, he's had a lot of injuries. He has an injury history, but this year and years like last year, this entire Olympics and this entire NBA year so far, he's playing through plantar fasciitis. That is one of the most painful things to have as an athlete, especially an NBA player, and he's playing through it. You're telling me Zion Williamson's hamstring is that bad that he can't play through that? If Anthony Davis is playing through that, come on. Like, right. That just tells me how poorly Zion has managed his body and how poorly his body is taken care of. I mean, like you said, it's deteriorating, and I think he's going to be traded. I think the Pelicans are sick of him not playing as they were with Anthony Davis. He's going to be traded similar to Anthony Davis, and the Pelicans will be in another rebuild phase, unfortunately, because they keep drafting players number one who have injury histories and then force their way out. But I think he's going to be traded, but I do agree. I don't think he's going to be the Zion Williamson that we all expect him to be. I mean, when he came out of Duke, everyone was saying, he's the next LeBron. He's the next LeBron. He's the next LeBron. I think, honestly, that put too much pressure on him, and he didn't perform. He performs, but he didn't live up to that hype because of the pressure, and the way he, got rid of that pressure was stress eating. Like that's a real thing. He probably stress ate. He, stress drank, whatever the case may be. I don't know what he did, but he did something to get away from that stress. Because when he was at Duke, his body was not this poorly managed, in my opinion. Maybe I'm forgetting. Like, do you think he was at this terrible of shape at Duke? Because we both watched him.
No, we actually saw probably the best physical condition, Zion Williamson, when he was at Duke.
Right. And I think, honestly, like I said, the expectations were too high. He got rid of those expectations by, gorging on food, because some people do that. And I think that is coming back to bite him right now. And it's unfortunate, not only for him, but for the Pelicans as well. Because, as I said, now they have to go in another rebuild phase after hoping that Zion Williamson would have been the guy to get them back to relevancy like Anthony Davis did back in 2014.
Right.
But to touch on another injury for the Pelicans, I mean, they have so many outs right now. Half their team is out. That's why they're, I believe, 11th in the Western Conference. Jose Alvarado, who is backing up CJ McCollum, suffered a hamstring injury and was ruled out for 6 weeks. So what's your thoughts on what this injury means for that team?
Yeah, I think one is because his defensive presence on the court is unmatched. He brings another level to that team. He's the heart and soul of that team. And when he's not playing, you can definitely tell. You can definitely see a difference in the way people are playing. The hustle. There's no hustle on that team realistically. Trey Murphy hustles, I feel like, but other than that, you don't see Brandon Ingram. You don't see, obviously, DeJounte's out, but it's just rough for them. And Jose was that bright spot for them to always keep trying, always, fight in those games. And for him to be out, that's a tough blow.
Yeah, I agree. Really tough blow for the New Orleans Pelicans that have already taken a lot of blows. CJ McCollum out, DeJounte Murray out. I think this is probably the biggest injury they have because of like what you said. He's their hustle guy. He's the one. I mean, they don't call him GT Alvarado for nothing. Like he's a thief. He sneaks up behind you when you're passing the ball, steals it, and lays it in. Like he was the reason they weren't competing very well when he was the starting point guard, but they were in games because of him. And without him, they have not been in games. And I think that's a testament to how important he is to them. And honestly, I'm not impressed with Brandon Ingram. With how many outs they've had, he has not done what he needs to do to keep that team afloat.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think that's just a testament to – I knew this when he was on the Lakers. He was never a number one option. There's a reason he could never get the Lakers back to relevancy by himself. And he's not a number one option. He's forced to be the number one option right now, and that's why the Pelicans are struggling, along with the injuries, of course.
Yeah, that's why they brought in DeJounte Murray, because he is that number one guy. Zion Williamson was supposed to be that number one guy. Brandon Ingram is a great number two piece, don't get me wrong. But like you said, the inconsistency, the way he leads a team, the way he plays the game, it's just not that style to lead a team.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, he's too quiet. He's not a leader. He's just quiet. He's a silent killer.
For sure.
He's a great player, but he's just not a number one option, not a leader. And that's what the Pelicans are lacking right now with DeJounte Murray hurt.
For sure.
But there is a lot of, 82-game season. So CJ McCollum is close to being back. Hopefully DeJounte Murray's back soon. They still got time to at least, I'm not saying they're going to get top 6. They probably they could have if they stayed healthy, but they can at least get back into the top 10, make a win the play-in, and then potentially, make a deep run in the playoffs if they're fully healthy. They have potential for that. But moving on to another injury, Luka Doncic was ruled out for at least a week 2 days ago with a wrist sprain. What's your thoughts on what this means for the Mavericks, Gio?
Sucks. But at the same time, we get to see Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving build that chemistry to where hopefully
you say that, but last night was their first game together, and Klay had another offer. If you didn't see,
yeah, like you said, it was the first game. They get to build upon it.
So you think as time goes on that Klay and Kyrie will get better?
100%. This is the best case scenario to me when Luka Doncic goes down, because we know he goes down. We know he'll get hurt in the postseason. We know one of the two, one of the three is going to get hurt. That's always going to happen. That's non-negotiable.
Yeah.
When that happens, at least you can build upon in the regular season the chemistry for the postseason. The Mavericks will be in the postseason no matter what.
Yes.
You have Kyrie Irving, you have Klay Thompson, you have Luka Doncic. At least you have two out of those three on the court at all times. That's so scary. And like you said, he went 0-4. He had another 0-4 last night. Fine, but that'll improve with to me. That'll improve when the chemistry is built.
Yeah, I agree. They still beat the Nuggets, and that Like their others stepped up, even with Klay Thompson going 0 for 8 and 0 for 4 from 3-point range. Najee Marshall dominated the Nuggets. Like the Mavericks don't have a bad team. They are a very good team. There's a reason they made the finals last year with Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving at the helm. Now add Klay Thompson in that mix. A rejuvenated Klay Thompson, similar to rejuvenated Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. He wants to prove people wrong, and he obviously they're going to have bad games. He had a bad game last night. That's okay. He's been proving people wrong this year. He's been the sharpshooter that people remember him as for the Dallas Mavericks, and that's what the Mavericks hoped they were getting when they made that sign and trade, and he's been doing that. And I think that with Luka Doncic out, he's going to step up. And like you said, him and Kyrie are going to build that chemistry, and I think they'll be just fine without Luka. I mean, it's just a week. Luka hasn't been playing great basketball, to be honest. It's really been Kyrie and Klay Thompson anyway, and I think that they're going to continue to win and make a deep run and make a run for the top 4 in the West.
Right.
I think right now they're in the play-in, but like I said, 82-game season, a lot of time to go. But moving on to Ja Morant and his hip injury, he is week to week with it. He's been out about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks now. What's your opinion on this situation, Gio?
Yeah. So Ja's obviously a perennial all-star, but
I mean, they're still winning. They're still putting up fights and winning. Like they still have a good team.
Sure, and that's what I was going to mention is that even with him out, they're still doing what they need to do in order to win games. When they have him back, though, that's when he's the difference maker, and that's why in the postseason, obviously, you can win regular season games without him, but the postseason, you definitely need him. And as long as you keep winning games in the regular season, you're going to have a better seeding in the postseason, and that is definitely going to make a difference, especially in the West this year.
Yeah, definitely. The Western Conference is very, very competitive. Lakers are looking very good under new head coach JJ Redick. Still always have the Nuggets. I know they're starting slow, but they always make a run. Still, the Thunder are the Thunder. There's a lot. The Rockets are up and coming. Like the West is very deep this year, so they're definitely going to need Ja Morant back sooner rather than later. But as long as Scottie Pippen Jr. continues to play the way he's played in Ja Morant's absence, I'm confident that the Grizzlies will be able to stay afloat. But when Ja is back, that's when they get really dangerous. I think the Grizzlies will be a sleeper team in the West this year. I think they'll be in the play-in, win the play-in, and then potentially upset a few teams on the way to the conference finals, similar to the way the Lakers did back in 2022.
I agree.
But moving on to the last topic, a little controversial topic. I've seen a lot of opinions on this. The NBA All-Star Game is reformatting to a pickup game format. It's going to be 4 separate teams. Semifinals will be first to 40 points. The finals will be the first to 25 points. How do you feel about this change, Gio?
I don't like it. I think it's too much buddy stuff. I think you're going to see a lot of players not really trying defense. I think you're going to see a lot of offensive different things. It's going to be cool offensively. Defensively, you're not going to see that much. Go back to the old format. I mean, yeah, I'm glad you're trying something new. It's cool.
Go back to the East versus West.
Go back to the East versus West. That is the best thing you can do. And I don't care. Play defense. It's that simple. It is simple.
Like, I agree. I don't think this is going to change anything. But you saying play defense, Adam Silver's been saying that for, 5 years now? And they won't do it. So I don't know what else he can do to make them play defense if this doesn't work.
It's not. You need a leader. You need LeBron James. I mean, you did play defense in the first couple or in the last quarter of every All-Star game. The last couple of years.
That's because of the Elam ending or whatever it was. It was because of the ending where they needed to score a certain amount of points. I think that's when the All-Star game was at its best, was when that was implemented. And then it was taken away, which I think was very not smart.
The whole thing to me is you need to play defense. There's no defense when watching. It's that simple.
I agree, but these players don't really care. They don't care like they did back in the 90s with MJ and Larry Bird. They don't care like they did back in 2008 with Kobe Bryant versus LeBron James. All they want to do is make an all-star appearance that gets them their bonus, and that's all they care about.
And like I said, it's all buddy stuff. Giannis Antetokounmpo wants to kill everybody else that goes on the court against him. He doesn't care. Russell Westbrook wants to kill everybody on the court that goes against him. LeBron,
they also,
I think that's right. They still wanted to kill each other on the court when they went against each other.
Yeah, that's true. I think when they went to the captains drafting, I think that's when it went downhill, because I think the captains used this as an opportunity to tamper without tampering. They draft their friends, like you said, and then say, "Oh, you should come to the Lakers or you should come to the Bucks," and then they don't really care about the game. They just care about convincing that certain player to come to their team in the offseason.
Here's the thing. I think too many players are intertwined with each other business-wise. I think too many players, because they're intertwined business-wise and they're best friends and whatever the case, it's good for you guys. Where's that competitive edge? Don't you want to beat each other?
Right? I mean, me and you, we're great friends. But once we hit the court, that we're not friends anymore.
Yeah, but I'm more thinking of
like Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant after breaking up.
I'm thinking of more Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan.
But they were one of one. They were one of one killer mentality wise. No one has that killer mentality anymore.
Oh, but I disagree. Devin Booker, Zach LaVine. No, I'm letting you know right now. Devin Booker, Zach LaVine, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Among all these other players who have Kobe Bryant as their GOAT, who have Michael Jordan as their GOAT, who have LeBron James as their GOAT. If those three guys are your GOATs, you should have the killer mentality to go out there and win anything you can. Bron's competitive enough. He wants to win in a game of cards, for crying out loud. Same with Michael Jordan. Same with Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant, yeah.
Competitive edge to win anything and everything.
I mean, if Devin Booker doesn't like to be double teamed in a pickup game, he sure as heck doesn't care if they play defense in an all-star game. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it's just honestly, it's really terrible. I mean, obviously LeBron James still has that competitive edge. He gets mad when they lose a regular season game. He doesn't care. And then like he wants to win the all-star game, but he's the only one with that competitive edge in the all-star games. Because like Giannis, yes, in the NBA he wants to kill everybody, but when it comes to all-star games, he's just out there having fun. And I think that's the issue. Like if he had the mentality that LeBron James has on the other side, I think it would be better.
For sure.
But yeah, I don't think that this change will fix anything in the All-Star game. I think you're right. Go back to the East versus West. I also saw another idea. Maybe do 1v1s. So like the players could say, yeah, I'm the best in the league. I beat everyone one-on-one. Like maybe that'd bring the competitive nature back. I don't know, but something else would need to change. I mean, I'm excited to see how this pans out. Maybe it'll pan out better than we expect, like the in-season tournament did and like the play-in did. But I don't think it's going to change much as of right now, but we'll have to see how it pans out.
Right.
But anything else you want to touch on before we get to our segments?
Why don't we give flowers to JJ Redick right now?
That guy can coach. Everyone was skeptical. I'll say I was a little skeptical. But after watching his podcast with LeBron James, Mind the Game pod, which they did 9 episodes until he was hired. After seeing the way that he broke down the Denver series, I said, yeah, that's our coach. That guy knows basketball. And one thing I love, he holds his players accountable. He holds himself accountable. After the loss that we shouldn't have lost the last game, last Friday, I believe it was. Or no, today's Friday. Wednesday, I believe it was, to the Magic. He said in his press conference, he said, I'm going in a dark place. I'm going in the basement. I turn off my lights and I watch film. That's my therapy. If you don't want that as a coach, I don't know what you want as a coach, because that is a winning mentality. JJ Redick was the most competitive 6-man ever in NBA league history, and he's showing that as a coach now.
Right.
Like, bro, I think it was earlier in the season, Mike Trudell asked something like, how do you hold your players accountable? And he just said, I just did, dropped the mic and walked out. Like, that's what you want from a coach. You want, so I don't care if you were getting paid millions. I'm holding you accountable. You didn't do what I asked you to do. That's on you. That's not on me. That's on you. And I'm going to let you know.
Yep.
And I also like how he, I think 7 to 8 games into the season, Darvin Ham loved D'Angelo Russell for some reason. He was very adamant about keeping him in the starting lineup. JJ Redick said, "Nah, you're out. You're not playing good." 1, I think 2, the bench would be a better spot for you because you can have pick and rolls more with Anthony Davis, which is what your strong suit is. And our bench is already lacking at scoring anyway. You come off the bench, you be the 6th man, you be that scorer when LeBron James and Anthony Davis come get this rest. And it's worked to perfection because it also helped our defense, which was very lackluster the first 7 games. And Cam Reddish is playing at an elite level defensively. So the fact that he has the gut to make those calls early on in the season that Darvin Ham never did, I think the Lakers are in very good hands.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your thoughts on it as a non-Laker fan standpoint?
I love it. JJ Redick was one of my favorite players when he played. I knew he was a very knowledgeable, person of the game, student of the game. We saw the first time he went on to First Take, right? Not even talking about the old man in the 3 podcast, but the first time he went on to First Take, Stephen A. Smith, a man who also claims, who is a student of the game as well, who's watched, who's played the game for many years, right? For what does he say? For he's covered the NBA for a half of millennia, or half
Stephen A.
of
Smith, yeah,
century or whatever, 25 years,
yeah.
Whatever the case may be, he says. He was in awe when JJ Redick took the stand and took the seat at First Take, and he broke everything down, and you knew JJ Redick had Stephen A. in his tracks. He didn't know what to say, and that was the first time I've ever seen Stephen A. Smith speechless, right? Yeah. About a person who's a student of the game, break down the game that simple for everybody to understand. That's a true master of his craft.
Definitely. I mean, even on
who it was.
Oh, go ahead.
No matter who was in the running for the head coaching job, when I heard JJ Redick was in the running, that's the guy I wanted to be your head coach. Not only because he's buddy-buddy with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and he knows everybody, but because, 1, he has the fire. He has the experience. And he is a master at his craft. And I knew once, right then and there, when you guys signed him, you guys are going to the playoffs. It's that simple. Not only are you guys going to the playoffs, he can make anybody, no matter who you have on your roster, look better than what they actually are.
And he already has. Cam Reddish did not look this well under Darvin Ham. D'Angelo Russell did not look this well under Darvin Ham. Anthony Davis was not playing at an MVP level under Darvin Ham. He would go, 10 possessions without touching the ball? He gets a touch every possession with JJ Redick as head coach.
And who keeps LeBron James accountable? I saw, 4 games ago? What was it, at halftime after someone made a buzzer beater or something like that? And he brought, who was it? Was it Kenneth or Anthony Davis or Austin Reeves and LeBron James to him? And he stopped.
It was Connect and LeBron. I remember this vividly. I saw it when they went to a commercial break. He yelled. I said, "Oh shoot! I've never seen a coach talk to LeBron like that."
LeBron James like that. That's right. And LeBron respects him. And those two work in tandem, and that's why they can win a championship, is because of the respect that those two have with each other. And that's why LeBron James won a championship with Ty Lue, is because of the respect they had with each other. When LeBron James respects a head coach and a head coach respects LeBron James enough to tell him what's going on, that's when there's going to be success. Not to even mention the times that he was in Miami, right? And he respected that whole entire front office, that whole entire coaching staff. So with that being said, this is an amazing move, and I cannot wait because things are just getting started with the Los Angeles Lakers. I think, one, you got to connect, right? He's a star in the making. I mean, he had 37 points the other night. And the reads that they're giving this kid, the trust, the automatic, the recent trust that LeBron James has given this kid. Austin Reeves. This team is just working in tandem right now. I haven't seen the Lakers work this great together since their championship run in 2020. And you see this now, it's a scary thought for the West. Like Jake mentioned, you have the Timberwolves. You have the Houston Rockets coming up. You have the Denver Nuggets. You have the Golden State Warriors, who were the number one seed. If not, they're still the number one seed in the West, right? You still have the Kings. I mentioned the Lakers, right? You have the Dallas Mavericks. Not to mention Victor Wembanyama, Chris Paul, right? If the San Antonio Spurs goes on a run, they make the 10 seed, the 9 seed. Who knows? Maybe they even make the 8 seed. But you look at what the potential the San Antonio Spurs have, and they can make a run in the postseason. You never know. I mean, the kid is unstoppable. He's 7'4". He's hitting threes. He's blocking every shot that comes into the paint. So, that being said, the West is up for the grabs for anybody who's playing hard enough. And I think the Los Angeles Lakers right now are showing that they're championship, pedigree team. And
I'm back. Sorry about that, Gio.
There's no way that this team loses in the first round again.
Can you give me a background on what you're saying? I'm sorry.
I sure can. I mentioned how JJ Redick is running schemes for Connect, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned how crazy it is that LeBron James has, trusted this kid already this early in the season. I mentioned how we haven't seen this team, the Los Angeles Lakers, work in tandem together like this since the 2020, championship run.
Yep.
And then I mentioned that the West is up for grabs. I mean, and I mentioned all the teams that you mentioned, but I mentioned a sleeper. I mentioned the San Antonio Spurs. If this team goes on a run in the regular season, you have Chris Paul, you have Victor Wembanyama. I said if these guys can make the 10-9 seed, win the play-in games, go into the playoffs, they can go on to a deep run. The kid's 7'4". He's making threes. He's blocking every shot in the post. There's no reason why this team can't go deep. And I said that the West is up for grabs. But if I'm going to take anybody, it's going to be the Los Angeles Lakers because you have LeBron James, because you have Anthony Davis, because you have the head coach, JJ Redick, and because the way the team looks, it's scary. Because I'm looking at a team that is working together and not working just to go ahead and win games because you're LeBron James' teammates and you need to win, or you're the Los Angeles Lakers and you need to win. I'm looking at a great team, no matter who's on your, what name's on your back. You guys are working together, and that's what I love to see.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even without trades, I'm confident this team can get back to the conference finals. I think it needs a little tweak, a few tweaks, nothing major, a few tweaks, like another big to help Anthony Davis rebound, another wing to help Cam Reddish defend. And we are only 1 or 2 roster moves away from another finals appearance. And I think Rob Pelinka knows that. JJ Redick knows that and will be urgent to Rob Pelinka about that, saying at the trade deadline, we need this and we need this. We don't need anything major, just these 2 things. Give me these 2 things, and I will give you a finals appearance. I'm not saying I'll win it, but I'll give you a finals appearance. And I saw a backstage Lakers thing a few days ago where JJ Redick said, this is the one date I circled, June 8th. That is the first game of the NBA Finals. After I saw that, I was like, yeah, that's my coach. This is what you need from a coach. 1, he has fire. 2, he holds players accountable. And 3, he's accountable of himself.
Right.
JJ Redick checks all 3. Darvin Ham didn't check any. There's a reason that they went from the conference finals to getting swept in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
Darvin Ham didn't coach in those playoffs that we got to the conference finals. We've been over this. That was all LeBron James and Anthony Davis and luck of the draw, getting younger teams that we had the advantage over. Once we met a team that we don't have the advantage over in the Denver Nuggets, what happened? We got swept. Darvin Ham didn't coach. Darvin Ham didn't make adjustments. Mike Malone did. Same thing happened last year in the first round. JJ Redick knows how to make adjustments. He knows how to coach. People were very skeptical because, he's just a podcast guy. He's just a broadcaster. He hasn't had any experience. No, he's had experience. He knows the game. He's played the game. He's seen it with his own two eyes. Darvin Ham hadn't done any of that, and it showed. And I agree. I think even Stephen A. Smith said, and this is way before the trade deadline, he said, I think the Lakers can go to the conference finals. That's without any moves. And that just shows you a first-year head coach doing this. It's very rare. And I think the Lakers found a gem. I mean, I'm not saying he's the next Pat Riley like other people have said, but he's dang close to it.
For sure.
But I really like what I've seen from JJ Redick so far. I think tonight is his make or break game. If he can get over the hump and make the Lakers get over their mental lapses against the Nuggets and get a win, I think this will be a statement win for both the Lakers mentally and for JJ Redick as the head coach.
Sure.
But before we wrap up, I would also like to say I am very happy that the Lakers did decide to finally build a statue for the great Pat Riley.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Because obviously the Showtime Lakers, they wouldn't be there without their coach, and that was Pat Riley.
Right.
But anything else, or you got stuff to go into the sneaker world?
Yeah, I got a little something I want to get off my chest about sneakers.
Oh, okay. Good or bad?
Bad, Jake. Bad.
Uh-oh.
The Jordan 3 Black Cements came out this weekend.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Okay. The Black Cements had a shock drop. I believe it was last week.
Yep.
And I got them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was great. My second favorite shoe of all time. Why? Because of how clean it looks, how comfortable the Jordan 3 silhouette is, and it's just a clean colorway.
Mm-hmm.
2018. That's when the last time this shoe came out.
Okay.
Tumbled leather. The elephant print was deep. It was a beautiful masterpiece. It was a well-made shoe. The shoe sucks, Jake.
Is that bad?
Sucks. I believe it was $190 or $200 retail 2018. $220 in 2024. And you're telling me you can't put better materials in, if not the same materials as 2019? You put worse material?
They put worse material in?
It is not the regular tumbled leather that we are accustomed to seeing on the Jordan 3.
Okay.
It is just disgusting. I mean, it's not great leather whatsoever. It looks like crap. And the elephant print looks like they stenciled it in, Jake. It is not deep whatsoever. It looks like a shoddy job, right? And the whole shoe, the whole silhouette itself, yeah, it's a great shoe because of, the coloration. It's a Jordan 3. It's different looking than what we have been accustomed to seeing. And it just doesn't look like a great shoe. And who knows? Maybe it's comfortable. Maybe it's the most comfortable shoe ever. I have not put the shoe on yet because I am so disappointed in how it looks.
Maybe try it on before you. I understand. We are very big sneaker people. In case you guys weren't aware, I am as well. We like the way it looks. If it doesn't look good, then we're pretty much disappointed. So I do get your disappointment. Your disappointment.
$203 retail. How does it get more expensive than it looks worse? That's
terrible. That shouldn't happen at all. But maybe put it on to see if it fits well. If it doesn't fit well, then I'd let him have a yearful for sure.
Here we go. Let me just tell you right now, the Christmas Kobe, 9 elites, it's amazing. They're coming out this holiday season, but who cares right now because of the Jordan 3s. But yeah, congratulations. Hopefully people can look and be excited for the Kobe Christmas is coming out.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to keep an eye out for those Kobe's. And I'm very glad I didn't put a bid on in those Jordans because I almost did. Because they on pictures that I've saw, they look good. But I'm glad I didn't based off what you're telling me.
I was so excited
But
when I opened up that box.
yeah, I'm sorry, man. Sometimes it's just your luck, man.
It's terrible.
In vintage say of fashion, hey man, it's okay.
It's not okay, Jake.
I know you got plenty of other shoes that you don't touch.
Jake, this is my second favorite shoe of all time. People have been waiting for the shoe to come back out, and you give us this nonsense, Jordan. You give us this nonsense, Nike. Give us all a refund. Give us a good shoe. Crying out loud.
All right, Jordan. If you somehow, some way come across this video, my boy Gio would like a refund. $220 back in his account.
Jordan brand. Make this right. All of us. Because this is crap. Do better.
I hope they listen to you, man. I really do. I'm sorry that happened.
Clip this. And
I will clip this for you, Gio. I will gladly clip this for you, and I will tag Jordan Brand for you as well.
Thank you. My goodness. Let's get this going.
All right. You know, if this video gets 100 likes, everyone needs to get a refund for these terrible Jordans. That is the motive. So 100 people watch this, 100 people like the video. I don't care if you didn't like it. Just like the video so my boy can get a refund.
Thank you. My goodness.
But moving on to the video game world. Not much video game news lately. A very slow month of video games, but Need for Speed Volume 9 does come out this Tuesday, November 26th. I'm not big into racing games. I have played a few here and there. They are pretty fun. I've touched Need for Speed a little bit. Very cool game. So if you're into that, that comes out Tuesday, November 26th, and it does look like a very good game, something I might myself get a hold of. So if you're into that, definitely would check that out. Other than that, thank y'all for watching. See y'all on the next one.
Hey guys, thank you all for watching. If you guys have a comment, or if you guys want to, go ahead and talk about the Jordan 3 just like I did, go ahead in the comment section down below. Tell us all your thoughts on the Jordan 3 Black Cements. Tell us all your thoughts on the podcast, what you guys want to talk about next time, or if you have any discussion, points you want us to talk about, or any disagreements. We love to see it. We love to respond. As you know, we're here for the people. So go right ahead, tell us all about it down below. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. And according to Jake, even if you didn't like it, please thumb this up. And until next time, like two wise men once said, subscribe. Peace.
Peace.